Greetings, and welcome. Happy Friday. I believe it's Friday. If you're coming in live on TikTok Live at the one and only, the raw, the rare, the real, the tried and the true, Bloom from Within Love. I go by Bloomy. So happy Friday. Again, if you're logging in live on TikTok, Friday, July the 22nd, 2022. Those of you coming in on high vibe, love and light, positivity, all that good shit. Welcome. Thank you for joining. And I send it right back at you. Now, hopefully this is going to be brief. You guys know me. I go in between the readings and the chats and however I'm guided. And so, keeping along with the theme, I want to talk a little bit about what you guys hear me refer to most often as either spiritual or religious narcissism. Okay. And again, let me add several disclaimers here before I even go into it. For me personally, I'm going to always be, as a reader, as a channeler, whatever, on my personal journey here, I'm going to still always say to every individual, any and every individual, whoever feels guided to what I do and create, I'm going to always say at the end of the day, this is still your life and journey, and you need to do your own due diligence and be investigative for yourself and empower yourself. Things that you're hearing from teachers, masters, readers, whatever we are calling ourselves, should somehow be connecting, okay? Because again, we're not here to rule over you. That's narcissism all by itself. We're not here to rule over you as an adult being, okay? So learn how to just challenge your own thoughts, your own beliefs, everything that you have. Because at the end of the day, you have to sit with your life's choices. We can go from one counselor to the next, one master to the next, one church to the next, one reader to the next. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to sit with your life, your life's choices and decisions, right? So I want to just add that because we're all so different. You guys, we're all so very different, though we're the same. But we're all here on different soul path levels as well. That's not a judgment. That's just like people are born in different years in the physical, if you will, okay? If that makes sense. So we all have a different blueprint. We all have a different ancestral Akashic background, okay? And so at the end of the day, even on an ascension path and awakening and however you're verbalizing that, it's still going to have a little bit something unique to it, okay? Because we're all different. And the whole thing, when you guys hear me say stuff like spiritual narcissism or religious narcissism, first and foremost, the 3D based template, the surface-based way of life is narcissism. But when I'm referencing it, this is what I really mean. From my own personal life's path and journey and studies and investigation and that of others that I've looked into, not only my own. It's anytime we're taking what we believe to know to be true as a fact, okay, whether it's right or not wrong, not the question, but anytime that we're taking our beliefs and using that, thinking that it gives us a right to somehow intrude, it's ego, and we all have it. You see, as long as we're on this earth, ego is not entirely bad. It serves, but that's from our, our lower mind. That makes us feel like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I believe as on some type of a spiritual or religious, whatever it is. So thus I can go about, right? I can go about intruding or trying to bring some form of harm. The thing about divine energy, and I'm not talking about traditional sense that we have equated divine energy to, but the thing about divine energy, it's neutral like the universe, but it's not, what's the best word I can use for it? It's allowance. It speaks truly, but it's still allowance, understanding that every being is here on some type of a journey. And, it's they get down, how they going to work with that. Okay. As long as it becomes issues as we start crossing these lines. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. Okay. We don't always have to agree. You see, it's a narcissistic program in itself that says we have to. The narcissism starts to creep in when we are convincing ourselves. I hate to sound like a broken record, you guys, but if we want to go there, everybody can sit down. It's based on your perceptions, your framework. There are people that are equally convinced as you. You see what I'm saying? When I learned that there are people that are equally convinced as myself, that what they know is in fact a reality or truth, what does that leave us? Truth. As for me, you guys have heard me talk about my path in my earlier years, but you hear me reference how I don't have a religious bent. I don't. Because I know where it all comes from. I believe in source as a creator, but I'm not in a religious bent. I believe in either benevolent or malevolence. It's all a frequency. I understand the matrix. I understand about programming, and that's me. But I also see value. I'm trying to show you something. I see value. Stories of old that we hear in several different religious texts, okay, to be quite honest, not just the Western, that are applicable to life on earth as archetypal energy and life lessons. Okay, that helps us to understand and make sense of things. But it's never, at least for me, it's never from a religious bent. Now, I see value in all of that, and I equally understand that there are people all over the world long before I was born and will be long after I'm gone from earth that is going to argue their point and is going to reference some type of a spiritual or religious artifacts or text, if you will. And that's fine as long as it's not invading on another person, violating someone else. You see where I'm going? That's fine. Because see, for all we know, that's the path, the level that they're on. And it's not up to us. It's just not. If they came to awaken this time, then they came. And then it's going to be however that's going to unfold for them. But the issue is when we start crossing over, okay? The fine, thin lines from I'm standing for something that I believe to now I'm intruding on the right of someone else to believe what they believe in their world, in their reality. Again, I referenced some very heinous thing in history to help us to equate and make sense of things. The individuals behind the Twin Towers demise have religious text that some kind of way in their perceptions, they have equated it in some way to a service. We may look and go, this is bananas, because to us, it's like, come on. Like, hello, how the hell are you going to make sense of that? But I'm proving a point, though. What happens to one's mind when we take the spiritual and religious narcissism? Because narcissism is an inflated sense of self and its delusion. Grandiose to such an extent that everything outside of the narc is objectified based on whatever with their world, and they feel the right or entitled to dictate and control, even if it means to attempt to kill. Kill can be in many forms. Killing in many forms because something is different than you. You can't fathom something based on your programming to you, this is bad, even if you're the one doing the bad and going about doing bad shit. This is what I feel like we all are susceptible to, believe it or not, that on this kind of a path, if we're not constantly being, stay in that position within our heart space of introspection, understanding that no matter how much knowledge we've accumulated, there's always so much more. Such is life, such is life, such is life on earth until we're gone out of here. That is narcissistic. We start leaning into the narcissism if we really have convinced ourselves that we have all the damn answers. Every generation on earth has always felt they had the answers and were always later proven wrong. Think about that. Every generation has always been absolutely certain that they had it all figured out when it came to spirituality, religion, science. But they continually are proven wrong. What does it say? It's a journey, ever evolving. So I feel like that would help us if we were to grab it, to not be as combative or not feel the need to we vigilante in the wrong shit. It's like, really? You're just kind of like hanging yourself, wasting time here. But you see, it's fear-based. It's still fear. There's so much that we don't know. The best thing we can do, which is something I started doing several years ago, I started saying it and I started meaning it. Shit. I was like, well, yeah, shit. I was like, I tell you what. You get there because it's like, okay, the more you learn and know, the more you realize what you don't know. And if we can get out of there, that is the ego, it's the narcissism. Get out of there. At the end of the day, let's simplify it. Because as long, it still comes down to what I talk about most: energy, frequency, vibration. Malevolence versus benevolence. That's going to be the base. It's going to come down to that, no matter what race, nationality, creed, color, background, belief system. At the end of the day, it's frequency, it's vibration. Instead of fighting over, semantics. At the end of the day, if we can get out of our own way, this human or humans, we're viewing external to us as whatever we're viewing it as. At the end of the day, do they bleed? You ain't got to understand them. You don't got to like them. You ain't got to nothing. But see, this is when you can start telling the difference between, or am I leaning more into my egoic energy, which is not bad. It serves for survival, but it's narcissistic. Am I leaning into that, or am I truly in divine energy? I didn't say religion. You didn't hear me say that. I said divine energy. Because that energy is not going to motivate any of us without cause. It's not going to motivate us to, out of the sheer thought of someone thinking differently than you, believing differently than you, looking differently than yourself. Out of that sheer motivation cause you to attempt to hurt them or take them down. There's nothing divine about that energy. Divine energy will fight and defend with the cause of protecting oneself from attack or standing up for one's own divinity and or right when one is being threatened or crossed. But not simply because someone is different than, no. That's when you know you're dealing with mature energy. I can sit, you can sit, someone can sit and really have and disagree truly with every core of your being. Sit and be like, okay, I don't agree with that. I don't see it this way. I don't believe that, or whatever. And still not feel driven to cross the line and boundary of someone else, unless, again, we want to take this with caution. We're not talking about folks out there killing folks and doing crazy shit, and don't go there. I'm talking about someone has a different ethnic, cultural or spiritual or whatever than yourself. And it could be outdated. You see where I'm going? It could be outdated, but it's like, okay, well, that's so this thing goes both ways. It's like, who signed us up? Whether you're on this side or that side, it's like, well, everybody's soul, when they're drawn and divinely guided, will receive whatever's necessary because they're aspects of source or light energy. So according to whatever that is for them. Spiritual, religious narcissism is threatened, okay? Just the same as everything you guys hear me talk about in readings, as well as other readers, probably. When they feel threatened, because spiritual and religious narcs need to feel like they're the queen bee and the top dog of all. You see where I'm going? If there's some kind of a subconscious fear being triggered and stirred up within them, then here we go. This is most common because it's usually not going to show up in the form of why this person is really triggered to begin with. It's going to be, oh, well, you know, I don't believe. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, great. To each his own. But why are you over there? If that person ain't bothering you, they ain't in your world, they ain't at your house. Kind of that energy, you guys, like, you know what I'm saying? They ain't at your house. They ain't coming. It's one thing for somebody to come over to your house and okay, act in some kind of way, but they're not at your house. You see where I'm going with this? They ain't at your house. They did not come knock on your door. They're not standing in your house, your four walls that you have paid for and built, intruding, coming in your four walls and trying to run some shit. They're not at your house. But see, that requires a level of introspection, emotional intelligence, and maturity. We all have concerns. We all have our views. And I honestly believe we all have a right. I do. You guys, please hear me out. I do. Even people I don't agree with, absolutely. I believe they have the same right that I talk about. I'm not making any exception for myself. They have the same rights. Yes, they do. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree. I could feel like it's unfortunate. I could feel like they're keeping people blind. I could feel all sorts of ways. But they have a right, though. Because whatever, at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, if there is anything off, they're going to deal with that when the time comes. That's the way it goes. And it may be umpteen years later, but it's still going to play out. That's for them to figure out and work out, or not. They have the same right to create. They have the same right to create a social media. They have the same right to speak their truths about their views and about their beliefs. Absolutely. It's the other stuff that we're talking about, which is spiritual and religious narcissism. Trolling, which is illegal, but trolling on people's platforms. See, this is where the lines have been blurred and crossed. Okay? Because that's cyber stalking. You see where I'm going? I'm aware of people that are in the religious sector that they're not all as toxic. Not all of them. Okay? There are some that they're just simply not going to go on. If it's against what they believe, they're not going to spend any time, energy, resources, or anything else searching and scrolling and sitting on something that does not align to them. They're just not. They're not going to ask nobody to do it. They ain't going to do it. And that's because there's a level of maturity, even if they have a distorted view of something, but there is a level of maturity that operates to say, hey, I don't got to go over there and look at so-and-so. Because if I'm as big and bad as I'm talking about, as we be believing, it's like, well, shit, I just pray, bitch. Shit. Whoop. I don't need to do all that. There's maturity and respect. You see where I'm going? When there's been a loss of respect, this is when you know. And what I mean by respect is like people who feel entitled to have all of the honor and respect in the world, but they go about being very dishonorable and disrespectful and don't want to receive that back. Okay? That's a narcissistic attitude. I am entitled to loyalty and honor and respect, even though I'm disrespectful. I'm a bully. This is where the issue comes in, not simply because we think different. It's because we start crossing lines and crossing worlds, being dishonorable, not extending the same respect that we expect to have. Most of us would have bitch fits and tear folks a new one if they came to our houses, our websites, our platforms, no matter who we are. If folks come on in to the left, yes, we would. Most of us would. Depend on how we feel. We either tear them a new one or we just block them out. But we still, we ain't gonna tolerate it. You see where I'm going? We ain't gonna sit passively. We're not gonna just allow people to come because they feel entitled to do so. Whether this was our church buildings, our Reiki centers, whatever it is that we have, our homes. Now, none of us is going to let folks, because they think differently than you, going to let now motherfucker come in there and be like, woo-de-woo, you're going to be like, I can escort you out of here the easy way or the hard way. Because that is invasion. And that's narcissism. Picketing, people try to equate these things to some of the serious causes of history, like, segregation and some of the more heinous acts of humanity. That was a real cause, bitch. You see what I'm saying? For the rights that we have now. But these rights must be honored across the board. You can't ask for it and not want to give it. This is when you know you're dealing with narcissists, because they're oblivious. That grandiose energy. I am so and so. So I am entitled to have honor and respect. I am entitled because I am right and you are wrong. So I can go about stomping, hollering, and bullying over other people's houses. Shit ain't mine. I'm entitled. But you better not come over to my world because I am important. I have all knowledge and truth. Don't it sound narcissistic? I hope this helps, because I believe every last one of us can fall prey or be susceptible to this energy, even those that are on an ascension path. Because it's a life. It's not, this ain't a one-shot deal. It's a life. We're constantly dealing with our own onion being unraveled. We're constantly, until we gone, y'all. So if we're not the type of people that first and foremost challenges everything, questions everything, even within oneself, without feeling some kind of way, like it's okay. It don't mean you don't love yourself. It's okay. It's all right. It just means that you're accepting the fact that there is always plausibility to be wrong. You can stand strong in your truth and conviction. And if you've been wronged, certainly, you guys know where I'm going to go with that. I don't play with that kind of stuff. That's a whole nother video. Okay. But I'm really more so talking about just, you and having your own views and your perceptions and your beliefs and opinions about things. We can be wrong, every last one of us. And even if we don't want to believe we are, which is fine, which is perfectly fine, we don't have the right to intrude on another. Intruding meaning, like I've said time and time again, going over to people's house, literally, in some cases, their church, their Reiki center, their social media, their websites. Just because something is permissible doesn't mean it's advisable. Because I can hear, I should say, the energy of individuals that would say, well, if they don't want no one commenting, they should create something private. It shouldn't be a public arena. Self-serving though, because usually, like I said, their churches is nonprofit, which is public. Their businesses, usually, depending, public. And they will protect both. We can't control reviews, right? Like businesses or churches or centers and, companies, that's a part of the world we live in. So absolutely, Yelp reviews and, folks can, because, that's the name of the game. That's the time that we're in, which is fine. So everybody's got a place to, their opinion. I'm finna to this restaurant. I don't like this restaurant, bitch. I'm finna give it 3 stars, bitch. Like, okay, so we can do that if we want to. But you can bet your bottom dollar you're not finna go to that restaurant acting no fool. They will escort you out. You will be handled. Because it's still their restaurant, you feel me? It's respect. And some people are in a childlike energy in a sense of lack of respect. Children, until they're taught and have proper examples, because if they have some fucked up ass, woo, that's another video, shit, bitch. They have some fucked up ass parents that demonstrated a bullying energy. And that disrespect is okay as long as you feel like you're right. That's a whole nother something. If we can just manage to reduce it to the basics, things will be not as complicated as we've made it. We all sit with ourselves at the end of the day when we're not in one of our avatars and saving face and doing the things we do in this 3D. It's basic. Everyone wants to be understood. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants love. Everyone wants respect. Everyone wants to be appreciated. It's very, very basic when we get all the fluff out the way. So if it's something that we, I'm going to leave it here. Because now I feel like I'm just going too deep with it. But we're just all different, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. Cultures, ethnicities, what we were reared under, what we came here already with. Shit, bitch. The level of brainwashing, bitch. Like, we all got something different. Some of us, unfortunately, reared in Sodom. May God have mercy. No shit. Yeah. Woo, oh, it's the reason I'm saying this. Man, I see the difference. I can certainly see the difference. Yes. Not that one is perfect or another one that's not. It's just I see the difference. Being, kids that are reared in Sodom and Gomorrah with Sodom and Gomorrahite parents. What happens? I'm telling y'all, I've seen this shit up close and personal, bitch. What happens? This is where all the disrespect is breeded. This is where all of the psychopathic, sociopathic energy is really breeded. And in some cases, praised. There's nothing divine. Whether you want to use the word divine, pure, whatever language, because people, again, I feel like folks get stuck on semantics. Whatever verbs and adjectives, bitch, and nouns, bitch, whatever shit we choose to use and suit our fancy. But there's nothing pure or benevolent about intentionally trying to hurt people because you don't like them, because they're different than you, because you're threatened by them. So no matter what we cleverly disguise things behind, there is the exposure right there. Because everybody has a right to go on with their lives and live their prospective lives on their terms. The things humans would serve to be embarrassed about, instead of fighting behind semantics, different views, opinions, beliefs, adjectives, verbs, and nouns, bitch, color, creed, socioeconomic differences. What will serve humans to become more sensitive to or be a little bit more remorseful about is the heinousness. Not because person A believe in this versus person B believing in that. Person A is spiritual, person B is religious. Person C is this creed. Person D is that creed. Person E is of this socioeconomic background. Person F is of that one. Foolery. Person H is this size and person J is that size. And person, you see how objectifying narcissism. On that hand, then on the other hand, want to wimp and bitch and moan and brood about, you see the hypocrisy? It would serve humanity to start caring about humanity. As simple as that. It served humanity to get the fuck out of all the foolery and start caring about lives as if they were their own. As if they were their own. See, things become a lot different when it's personal, doesn't it? The high horses and the soapboxes and all the shit. It changes. Let me tell you something. It changes when circumstances change. People who can't relate to certain types of struggles have a tendency to have a sedity attitude about those who do. People who haven't had to experience certain things sometimes are prone to have an attitude, a sedity, snooty attitude about those who do. And they think because they read a book somewhere, or because they themselves haven't had to experience, unbeknownst to them, there's a lot at play with that. A whole lot. But coming out with that very judgy energy and feeling entitled, that energy. It'll serve humans to start caring again about humans that's outside of their four walls, about humans that are different than them, considering themselves as if it were them, because they never know. You never know. We never know. Because it one day may be you. This is something no one ever seemed to think about. Whether it be because they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they inherited something from some rich ass parents, they always had a husband or wife since the moment they were legally allowed to have sex. Whatever the situation is, to where there was always this unspoken yet available support. But in an instant, it can change. In an instant, property held at a certain value can lose its value and you have nothing. In an instant, your credit score may no longer even hold weight. In an instant, your health can decline and no amount of money or pills is going to change it. In an instant, you can get a divorce. Someone could pass. In an instant, get robbed. Everything you invested in, 401k gone, bitch. It's gone. It's no longer, they closed it, bitch. Closed. People don't never think, people don't think that. They put their security and their, absolute security and all of that. But in an instant, it can be gone. And it's funny how we change our views if and when that happens. In an instant, we can make one bad choice and do some shit to the one wrong motherfucker, and it change your whole, give it up forever. Forever. It served humanity to start caring beyond what the hell they're trying to get on this earth. How the hell they're trying to look. Who they trying to win or beat. That only caused them to be the loser in the end, man. Religious and spiritual narcissism is at the heart of the fucked up behavior and heinousness that we see play out in all communities, in all arenas, in all belief systems. Again, I do want to say, yes, you guys, we have a right to stand up and defend all of that. Y'all know me. I'm a strong advocate of that now. Okay? It's the lack of that is a part of why a lot of shit has ran rampant for so long. The bullying energy, bullying people into silence. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about a side of that. A side of that when that's necessary. Investing in loving energy with the self and humanity. And some of those old adage and sayings, well, if you can't say nothing good, shut the fuck up. And I'm saying in a more raunchy way. If you can't go and say something good on somebody else, then shut the fuck up. Unless they ask you. Now, if they're seeking your opinion and they're asking you, then they're inviting you to share your output. But if they're not, shut the fuck up. And fix your own life. And put all of that energy into, whatever you're doing and creating. And if they seek you out, then do the best you can in the most loving way you can to share from your perspective, but still knowing that at the end of the day, it's still their choice. You guys, if we want respect, we need to learn what it means. Give it to ourselves, but extend it to others. If we want our privacy respected, then we also need to learn what that means. And then also extend that same thing. If we don't want our business out there or to be gossiped about, then we need to learn what that is and then be mindful and truthful and honest about the ways in which we've invested in gossiping about others. Isn't it simple when I put it that way? If we don't want people stealing from us, then it serves us to Step back, be honest, and look at any ways in which we've done it and learn a lesson and cease to steal. We don't want unfaithful ones and liars. See how this works? We have a lot of what we want, but okay, well then don't be are you a liar? Are you a cheat? Are you a misogynist? Are you a whore? Are you a bully? Are you a con artist? Are you a fanatic? See, we got to look at that. It's painful. I get it. But we got to look at it. Because how is it that you're expecting such high value that you yourself are not willing to truly be? You want to be accepted at your worst. But do you accept people at their worst? You see where I'm going? It's simple, guys. This is how we break the code and how we break through the narcissism. Now, if you know that you are starting to cultivate all of the beautiful higher vibrational energies, then it becomes about you simply learning how to cut away what's not serving, to make room for the things that are right. Understanding your worth and value, right? All right, you guys, I know I went a little bit all over the place here, but I know there was some wisdom in it. It always is when I'm guided to do it. And for those who are, in that energy and starting to ask these questions, and hopefully some of these discussions is helping to put pieces together for those of you that are being guided in very similar ways. But to me, it comes down to the good old basics. You want respect, period. You don't got to like me. You don't got to agree with me. But if you want respect, then respect. Period. I mind's my business. That's another thing. Mind your business. Energy. Mind your business. As a reader, we're flies on the wall. So that's a whole nother game. Okay. And people hate that. Too bad, so sad. If folks were a little more forthcoming, they wouldn't have to worry about that. But in terms of my personal life, y'all, to be on a real, like for real, I mind my business. Y'all see me as a reader and be going at it and the ancestors, but in my personal life, I mind my business. I'm not trolling and stalking people. Okay, I'm not the hall monitor bitch of motherfuckers. Okay, I don't got time for that. I don't have time for that. Of motherfuckers I don't like and shit, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I mind my damn business. But when motherfuckers fuck with me, this is when they're gonna wish they were not born. And it's because I mind my business why I have that attitude. Because I let people be. You don't have to like me. You can talk about me. You can go on your page, bitch. You can say your sayings. I don't give a fuck because it's your world. But you fuck with me and you fuck with mine, that you'll pay for. You will pay for that. Come into my world, trying to cause havoc, you're going to pay for that. And it's those old adages of mind your damn business. Don't think for one moment. Nobody goes unscathed. You don't go to somebody's house and rob their house and they press charges. You know what I'm saying? Or some shit, right? Like, oh. That's when y'all see the other side of blooming. But Separate from that, man, I'm aware of a lot of shit that's going on. I don't care. When people come to my house is where things change. Okay? Energetically speaking, symbolically speaking, social media speaking, and literally speaking. My personal intrusion, violating my boundaries. This is where people are going to see hellfire. As it should be with you. Okay, because you have a right to be here. All right, you guys, I'm going to get going. I hope y'all have a happy Friday night, weekend. I'm going to do the best I can over the weekend. God help me. Over the weekend to try to catch up on some more of the lives to upload it to the YouTube, depending on how busy I get over this weekend. Last weekend was a little busy. That's why it took me so long to catch up with some. So I'm hoping that if I'm not as busy this weekend, maybe I'll be able to push more of them out. Okay, a little quicker for you guys to go back and look at your own leisure. Okay, but if you're a high viber ever coming in on here, just know I appreciate you. I do. I promise. I promise. If you're somebody that's on an ascension path, whether it's the beginning, intermediate, or advanced, somebody that finally said, I'm surrendering, I'm awakening, I want to unplug and reform and heal and blah, blah, blah. I feel you. I know that's the warrior's path, okay? That's that warrior's path. And for you, I have to tilt my hat, okay? Because you're a bad motherfucker, all right? Because you got to have some moxie to unplug. Because you got too many programmed agents, bitch, waiting for you. So I tilt my hat out to you. It's going to be all right. I'm rooting for you always. If you're a part of Bloomy's tribe, daily, I set intention daily and wave my hands, sending energy to those who are truly divinely guided. If they're open to love and light, whatever they need, positivity, upliftment, guidance on their terms, on theirs, that they can keep on, keeping on. All right, y'all, give them hell.